Hey there and welcome back to Get Indie Gaming. In today's video, we're counting down 10 of the best looking indie games coming out this week across all of your favourite storefronts, beginning Monday, October 19th through to the 25th. Up first and headed out onto PC and early access on the 22nd, Dwarfheim is an exciting genre mashup with it mixing elements of real-time strategy games with co-op and team-based gameplay. We're rather taken with how all of this looks, particularly with its asymmetric approach, and how it uses three unique character classes, warriors, miners and builders, who must all work together and collectively agree what's best for the group. Based on what we've seen so far, team gameplay really seems to be key to success in growing and developing your settlement, all from a single building to a thriving village and more, all the while gathering resources, increasing the overall population, and keeping your citizens happy all the while. As you might expect, there are single-player modes with a fast-paced challenge setting, as well as a more relaxed sandbox experience. That said, it's the co-op aspect that finds it here in this weekly countdown, and it's expected to be out in early access by the summer of next year. This one's shaping up rather nicely. Next up at number 9 we have Tenderfoot Tactics, which comes out this coming October 21st. In this one, players will lead a party of goblins within what looks to be a tactical-based RPG, seemingly inspired by the classics of the genre, all within a smattering of open-world exploration. The low-poly setting of the characters and the overall environments look tastefully done, and we're rather liking the muted and subtle colour scheme. The combat system also looks rather intriguing, with it using what's called a deterministic mechanic with simple-to-grasp rules and understandings. There's no damage ranges and every attack has a predetermined impact. The ability to terraform the terrain while using this to your advantage also looks pretty neat, as does the ability to evolve and change your goblins, with each being unique with differing abilities. You can get hold of Tenderfoot Tactics on the PC by way of Steam. Up next and at number 8, and to give it its full name, Love, a puzzle box filled with stories, is a quaint and thoughtful game that's best thought of in terms of it being a diorama point-and-click experiment in storytelling. Now, we've been lucky enough to play this before its launch on the 21st, and can vouch it's for one for folks who really enjoy narrative and interactive story-based gameplay. Players explore a tenement building, and through interactions with the floors and apartments of the building, you can rotate them and move them back and forth in time. In so doing, you're able to solve puzzles and tell the tales of their inhabitants, while also revolving issues from their past and helping them to live the best life possible. In places touching, in others a right proper head-scratcher, it would be all too easy to miss this one from amongst the sea of other new releases. Love, a puzzle box filled with stories, is out on the 21st on PC via Steam. At number 7, and while out a good few years ago, Grood makes its way onto the Switch, PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One on October the 23rd. As you can probably guess from what you can see on screen now, this one offers a fast and frantic arcade shooter-like gameplay with modern and vibrant graphics, with the smoke, fire, explosions and projectiles all looking rather immersively lovely. And we're looking forward to getting stuck back into this one once more, most likely on the Nintendo Switch.
Control 32,000 drones in this fast-paced strategy adventure. Draw attack paths, and a part of the swarm will execute the order, destroying everything in its way.
Okay, so up now and at number 6, we have something that looks utterly incredible and unlike anything we've seen in a good while. With a demo to play as this video goes live, in Drone Swarm, where you're able to control 32,000 drones within a single-player only real-time strategy game. As for the story, well, the year is 2118 and Earth lies in ruins, with you being sent to find a new Earth. Funnily enough, you control the swarm and are able to force it to behave in a number of ways, such as providing a shield for your mothership, as well as many other things. There's something really rather satisfying in controlling the swarm, and watching it move and flow over the screen, well, it can be rather relaxing and somewhat mesmerising. With over 100 different battles and encounters, we suspect this will appeal to quick-thinking fans of RTS games, with this coming to PC again via the Steam storefront on October the 20th. Moving onwards to number 5, and while already out on consoles and iOS, PC players, or those at least not wanting to use the Epic Store, will finally be able to get hold of Manifold Garden on October the 20th. Already nominated for several awards such as the Best Debut Game from the Developers' Choice Awards and a BAFTA, it was one of our most loved games from last year, although somehow we've got to include it within our Game of the Year rundown. If you fancy taking a look at which games did make our annual list, you can find a link on screen now or down in the video description. All too perhaps easily described as a game that delivers a gorgeous looking Escher-esque world of impossible architecture. Players manipulate and change gravity, and in so doing, you can change your overall perspective and solve some tricky puzzles along the way. Again, to labour the point, to us, well, this is visually stunning, particularly on higher resolution screens, and overall is really rather something of a treat. Again, we recognise many of you already will have seen and played Manifold Garden, although in all honesty, we really feel it's worth an additional signal boost. At number 4, Goner 2 sees you once more play as Ick, and this time you'll be helping out Death, who seems to have gotten into somewhat of a little bother. While this perhaps doesn't bring too much in the way of things that are new in what's a procedurally generated platform with the roguelike elements, we love the original and are looking forward to seeing where this sequel takes us, and how many hundreds if not thousands of times we'll die while playing. Goner 2 is headed to the PC via Steam, as well as the Switch, Xbox and PlayStation 4, with it launching on October the 22nd. Coming up next, and at this week's number 3, we have Pumpkin Jack. Now, all of this, we believe, mostly comes from a single developer, and it's something we've had our eye on for a little while. It was recently featured over at the Steam Autumn Game Festival, and it was great to see it get as much traction as it did, with its demo, which at the time of writing is still available via its Steam homepage. Having spent plenty time with the demo, we're hoping the full release meets our initial expectations, as this could be an absolute delight. It totally reminds us and plays like those kind of action-based platformers you might have played in the late 1990s, with its colourful and garish graphics and with its fun and forgiving gameplay. We particularly love the 3-sequence boss battle and the section where you're forced to undertake a mad and bad dash through an area as the ground falls away from you, and of course, well, your character is able to in places let his pumpkin head go off and do a few things here and there. From the demo alone, this feels it could be a delightful treat for this socially distanced Halloween. Pumpkin Jack comes to Steam, Epic, GOG, as well as the Switch and the Xbox One on October the 23rd. Up now, and in this week's runners-up slot, we have Disc Room, which comes from a collaboration of indie gaming greats, with it also being published by the ever-reliable Devolver Digital. The premise is simple enough, with Disc Room looking to deliver a challenging, and we say that somewhat politely, experience where you attempt to lead a scientist through room after room of lethal killer discs. We're not too sure what else to say about this one, as the saying goes, and having played the demo, Disc Room does pretty much what it says on the tin. Sure, we've already mentioned it is super tough, although it is really good fun, with it coming to PC and also the Nintendo Switch on October the 22nd. And onwards to the number 1 game we're most looking forward to playing this week. Scourgebringer comes out of early access on October the 21st. Already a big seller on Steam during its time in early access, this is yet another game on the list we've been able to play before launch, and while we haven't seen the credits roll, so far we've really enjoyed our time with it. It succeeds in its aim of channeling the stylings of rawness, while needing the firm and mastery skills from early rogue platforming games, with it also adding a modern twist with its tight and fluid control systems, frantic aerial combat and delightful pixel art. The lack of backtracking, so often used in these sorts of games, feels nicely implemented, as does the overall procedural generation, where the gameplay really does deliver on the premise similar to something of, let's say, The Binding of Isaac or Celeste. Now, it's certainly a challenge, although as we often say, so far we haven't come across anything that feels deliberately unfair, which is great. Players who might have played this in early access will notice an uplift across nearly all parts of the game. The story's been remodeled, there's new dialogues, there's more lore, and more endings. You can pick this up on Switch, the Xbox One, and Game Pass for PC, Steam, and the Epic Games Store. So there we go, many thanks for watching and supporting us here at Get Indie Gaming. If you've liked the video, please give that like button a good old tickle, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel with all of the notification bells turned on. In any case, all the best, and we'll see you here next time for more indie game videos.